Hey, all you would-be wheelsmiths out there. Today we're going to lace up a wheel and I'm going to show you how. So don't go away. Welcome back. Well, I lied. I'm not going to actually go through the whole lacing. I'll give you some photographs on my little journey along the way while I did my front wheels for my recumbent. There's so many people that give really good videos on this on YouTube, so I'm not going to go through every little bit, but I will offer up a few little tips that will make it a little bit easier that people don't mention while you're lacing up your wheels. So I've got this, and I also have a recumbent I'm building, and we laced a motor up to it. So we'll go over that, just the basics of lacing a wheel and what to look out for. So don't go away. So the first thing you're going to want to know about your what kind of rims, hubs, and what type of axles and bearings that you want on this. So you kind of have to organize that before you get started with this. In my case, I was ordering 20-inch rims for my recumbent, and it turns out there's two different standards for 20-inch rims. There's a little bit smaller and a little bit larger rim. The next thing to consider about a rim is you're going to want a double-walled rim. Why not exercise the option if it's available? It's really not that much more expensive if it is. And normally you'll want to make sure that they have little grommets pressed in where your spoke nipples go through. The third thing is check what size those holes are in there, especially if they already they're pre-drilled and have the grommets pressed into them. You really don't have an option when it comes to the nipples, so make sure you're paying attention to that. Also, the size of the holes in the hubs. Make sure that they are matching the size of the spokes you're getting. Double-butted spokes means that it's a little bit wider where it goes through the hub. That's not a real biggie for the hub because you can always drill those holes out a little bit larger. Aluminum is pretty easy to drill through. Just take care that you're not drilling them too big. And lastly, you'll have a choice of the number of holes in the rim and the holes in the hubs. Just make sure they match each other. In other words, a 36 with a 36, 32 hub with a 32 rim. They're normally 3-cross rims. I am not an engineer when it comes to what's stronger or what's better. I would imagine the spoke, when it crosses more times, is going to be a little bit stronger. So keep that in mind. Normally everything's a 3-cross, and most of the videos will teach you how to do it in 3-cross, and it's kind of the norm default for spoke lacing. A couple things on these. You can see I needed something with a big enough hole to get a 1/2-inch axle through, and these have 15mm bearings in them, and I have to space it out with 0.75mm pipe in between those two sizes. I want to kind of tell you what I ran into here with these hubs. These are XM 490 hubs, and they are, I believe they call them koozies, and I got these on eBay, or I may have ordered them directly from Alley right here. And these are nice rims too. These match my rear rim. Meijun rims, Chinese, and they're double walled and really machined nicely, and they were perfectly round, very easy to lace. That's a real nice factor. You can cheap out on rims, but these were only, I'm thinking $28 for the pair, and maybe 32, and the hubs were maybe 25 or 24. I want to give you a little heads up about the flanges on these, especially on a small diameter wheel. You want to watch. You see these spokes on the outside when they came through the flange. This flange is totally flat and parallel to the inside of the flange, and when the spoke has to make this quick little crossover here and come to the center of the rim, that stresses the spoke. It actually has to break or bend right as it comes across the top of this flange here. So be cognizant of that when you're getting hubs. I never went back to see if there is an available flange that has that on it. I'm sure they make them. Bicycles have been around a long time. I also ordered the disc brake hub with 6 holes. That's a standard thing. These came with the disc brakes I ordered. Shimano disc brakes, really nice ones, fluid or the hydraulic type, which are very stable. The second thing I'd like to point out when I was lacing this up is as you start tightening these spokes, you want to bring them into this to a said distance. In other words, you see the threads on each spoke and you screw them in until exactly 3 threads are exposed. Now, I knew approximately that if I put my thumbnail just ahead of the nipple with all of the threads exposed on this, I would count up, just by feel, count up 3 threads. And then I would take my screwdriver and or tool, and I would screw in on the nipple until I felt it touch my thumbnail. And I went around the whole wheel like that to get the spokes all to the right length. Now, this is the part nobody tells you. This one will be touching the inside of the rim. 2 spokes later, this will be way up here, and you'll look at it and go, gosh, this can't be right. This spoke's not touching. However, as you're tightening these spokes, the hub is turning, and it's actually pulling those spokes into their positions. So a lot of people will panic and they'll start tightening those other nipples up and getting it wrong. So that's a neat little pointer. It's something I learned long ago lacing motorcycle wheels. Don't panic. You want to make sure that each spoke is exactly the same amount of threads on each nipple when you start out. And then as you go, you're counting your spins on them as you're tightening it up. You don't ever want to go too much on one spoke because you'll end up fighting it when you get to the other side. So those are my big pointers for truing wheels. The rest of it can be found. If you do a Google search that have spoke calculators, usually companies that sell spokes or wheelsmiths will sometimes give you a calculator. Lacing the wheel is not a black art. There's so many videos on lacing bicycle wheels that explain how to do it. My suggestion is find one that's comfortable the way the person explains it to you. Find one that you can understand what he's saying and totally grasp it before you attempt to do this. And I will see you in the next installment of The Other E-Bike Guy. This is Dave Ashenbrenner. We'll see you next time. Thank you.